So we're here at Next in Berlin, and you just had a keynote here, a speech.
Yes.
So what do you do?
I'm an internet sociologist. I'm working in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm based at the Stockholm School of Economics, and I was probably the world's first internet sociologist. I've been doing this for 12 years. And all the three books I've written together with Jan Söderqvist, a media theorist. The three books have just been published in America as an ebook, so they're available everywhere in the world. And they're called the Futurica Trilogy. So if you look for the Futurica Trilogy online, you'll find all the three books combined.
So what do you think about the internet in the future? Is it oh, we haven't seen nothing yet?
We have seen nothing yet. We have seen nothing yet. Everything, every person on the planet, everything we do, every gadget we have, everything around is going to be interconnected. Everything's going to be connected with everything else. We're going to live in a very, very fluid world. But we're also going to live in a world with information overload, where there's just going to be so much information around that we're not going to find our way. And that's exactly why we need to find our way in this huge system of things. And that's what I study the most. I concentrate on that, what I call the metaphysics of the internet, and how people try to find their way through this enormous amount of information, and they tie to each other in different subcultures to find an order in this huge chaos.
So there is information overload, but we've always had that, no? Since
no. This what we're getting into now is nothing compared to what we had. I mean, the amount of information overload we have today is radically different from only 10 years ago. Every year right now, human society is creating more information than we did throughout in the entire history up until the last year. So the amount of information available to us now far exceeds anything we had before. That's why it gets so much more complicated to filter through all this information and find our way.
And the systems get exponentially better as well. Might it be that like 2-3 years from now, like there's no more Facebook, there's no more Twitter, it's something completely different that's much better maybe?
I don't know if much better is the right word. Something much different, I suppose. Something more attractive. For example, I hate Facebook timeline. I think it's a disastrous mistake of Facebook. I might be wrong, but I was right when I said in 2003 that MySpace was going to die. And at the time, 2003, I said MySpace is not going to work. Then everybody screamed and said, Alexander, they got 600 million followers. Who do you think you are? And I said, well, it's still not going to work because according to my meritocracy theory, this is the wrong way to go. And 3 years later, MySpace was dead. So I think it's very, very important to take social theory seriously. And I think the most common mistake startups make is to think this is all about technology and economy. It's actually technology and economy is secondary. Psychology and history are actually more important to understand your future customers and your future friends and people you're going to connect with. So psychology is the underrated factor in everything online today.
But are people learning history? Are people learning sociology, or are they just focusing on writing code? What are they doing?
Let's put it this way. If they did learn psychology, sociology, and history at school, they wouldn't have to make all the mistakes they make. They could get around the mistakes, avoid them, and then get right to their winning formula right away. But that would be much better.
Do you think the staff at Google, at Facebook, do you think they think about that, or they don't?
I think a lot of staff at Google think about that. They have their own think tank now, but I think humaniora, to learn language, to learn psychology, to learn sociology, to learn anthropology is going to be increasingly important if you want to be successful online. Because technology is going to be secondary, and it's actually understanding other human beings, understanding how you can reach other human beings and want them to participate in what you do is going to be key to success.
Is that what you're doing in Sweden?
That's what I teach people. I teach them social theory. I'm an internet sociologist. So I teach people social theory. I teach them how a society is constructed, what it's built on, how people interact with each other, why they interact with each other, why they avoid interacting with each other, and what it takes for them to find interaction attractive. So that's what I teach. That's exactly what I study.
So there's a new president, for example, in France yesterday. Do you think that changes anything? Do you think politicians can change anything? Or is just a private enterprise to startups here and there, and they try to...
I think politicians right now in history can only destroy things. They can't really change things to the better. So François Houdini, as I call him, not François Hollande, is probably not what France needed right now. They didn't need Sarkozy either. Unfortunately, French voters have very bad taste. It's their fault that they only had those two guys to pick from. They could have brought out somebody much better, but they didn't. So they only have themselves to blame. So right now, Southern Europe looks very depressive. That's not where the internet's going to take off in a big way in the next 10 years. I look to Northern Europe. I look, of course, to the West Coast in America, and I look to Asian countries right now for the internet revolution, where it's really taking off.
So it is the companies that do it. It's not not governments ever.
I think it's individual human beings who do it. I think it's individual human beings who connect with each other, who become individuals rather than individuals. I think it's networks of people. I think it's the new tribes online that are going to create the future of the world, and they're also going to rule the world.
So can we see your keynotes on the internet? We go on YouTube?
You can see some of my keynotes on the internet, depending on what people have thrown up there. I don't organize that myself and put myself on YouTube. I'm not very good at being a salesperson. I would recommend you to read the Futurica trilogy to really get the theory, because you really need to get through those 800 pages to get the whole picture. And you will be rewarded, because people from Rick Falkvinge, who started the Pirate Party, to the guys who started the Pirate Bay, to the guys who started Spotify in Sweden, they all read my books first. So apparently my theories are inspiring them a lot. So a lot of the startups that have really clever ideas have actually read social theory first. That's a winning formula.
The Pirate Bay?
Yeah, the Pirate Bay, definitely, yeah.
You mentioned them?
Yeah, sure. I know the guys. Of course I do.
They're cool.
Yeah, they're cool guys, yeah. And they're actually theorists. They got the theory first before they started their community, the Pirate Bay. And I think to be a winner today, you need to understand theory first before you start your enterprise.
How can like three young guys, make a website that consumes half the bandwidth of the whole internet? It's insane.
Because they did something that nobody else wanted to do, which is basically to provide them with a place where they can exchange their music files and then their movie files later.
And we don't care about if it's legal or not. I mean, the politicians are not doing anything about it.
No, I don't think you have a problem with that. On the other hand, they don't make any money or become very popular either. So it seems to be a situation where they became very famous, but they didn't become very victorious. Let's put it that way.